Police say a little girl who was abducted 7 years ago when she was 1 has been found alive in Phoenix. Phoenix police say they found Amber Rose Nicklas at a home, hidden in a shower under a pile of clothes and towels. Nicklas was with foster parents in Norwalk, California, when she was allegedly snatched by 3 of her aunts in 2003. 2 of them were caught. Police say the third got away with the little girl. Officials say Nicklas ended up with a family in Phoenix that had no relation to her biological family. After a tip, authorities went to the home yesterday. They say the girl's identity had been changed, that she was kept out of school. Nicklas was described as scared by the day's developments, but otherwise in good physical condition.
A miracle. This little girl at age 1, Amber Rose, stolen right from under her parents' nose. They're at a Chuck E. Cheese. 7 years later, she is found alive. She had been in the custody of non-blood relatives. We don't know right now, as we go to air, how she got into this couple's custody. Was she sold? Was she handed off? We don't know. But we do know she was found alive, hiding, cowering under a pile of clothes inside a shower. We know that detentions have been made. People are being questioned. Out to the lines, Alice in Ohio. Hi, Alice.
Hi, it's Allison.
Hi, Allison.
Nancy. I have a couple questions. It's probably a bit too early. Do they know how her mental condition is? Was she physically, mentally, emotionally abused? Does anyone know that? And what's the status of a child who is in this situation, only knows one set of people, and then she gets put back with the correct family?
What about it, Dr. Bethany Marshall, psychoanalyst, author of Deal Breakers?
Allison asks a great question. This is so traumatic. Her attachment systems have been disrupted 4 times. She went from her mother to her grandmother, to foster care, and now to these non-custodial caretakers. She's been kept from school, so she's missed out on all the socialization experiences. She's missed critical stages of development and learning. If she's been abused, there's been no teacher, Sunday school teacher, people who could take a look at her and report her to authorities. And we know that when a child is kidnapped, even when they're in very cruel and neglectful circumstances, they bond with their captors. So now the only caretaker she has known has been taken away from her, and she may not even have the resources to cope with all of this psychologically.
We are talking about Amber Rose Nicklas, stolen from under her parents' nose at a Chuck E. Cheese in public. 7 long years have passed, and tonight, as we go to air, this child is found alive in the custody of strangers. Back to Sergeant Crump. How far away from that Chuck E. Cheese where she was taken 7 years ago was she found today?
Well, obviously we're in Phoenix, so we're about 6 or 7 hours drive away from where she was abducted.
To Jane Casares, how far away is it?
It's about a 7-8 hour drive from Southern California. Remember, Norwalk is a suburb of Los Angeles, and we don't know at this point who she was living with. We don't know what relation, if any, that they have with the kidnappers, but we do know her identity was changed, her birth date was changed, and she can't read.
Jane, what about her condition? Do we know whether she was mentally or physically or emotionally abused?
Nancy, we can just use our common sense. We believe this is who she was raised with. If she wasn't changed from family to family, this is who she knows. And she probably just doesn't understand and is so confused. And she now is with the Department of Children and Families in Los Angeles.
Cannot read. Out to the lines. Vivian in Minnesota. Hi, Vivian.
Yes, hi, Nancy. This just doesn't seem right. I wonder if the aunts do they have a criminal background, or were they on drugs?
Vivian, that's a good question. But Vivian, it was 7 years ago. After 7 years, who cares if they were on drugs the night they took the girl? They've had 7 years to dry up. But what about it? What do we know about the night they were taken, John Bayard?
What do we know about the night she was taken?
About the aunts, about the kidnappers. What
All
became
we know
of
is they
them?
Were juveniles, and they were juveniles at the time this happened. 2 of them were caught immediately afterward. Apparently, they went to a juvenile camp. The third one was not located. You heard the story about how they just found her We also know they have interviewed her. At this point, no charges have been filed. But we've also heard just in the last half hour or so that these three were sisters, and I think I said this before, of the biological mother. The relationship between the family that had her in Phoenix and the aunts isn't quite clear, but my understanding is that they were acquainted. So even though they weren't related, they were acquainted.
It's nice that this little girl has finally been found, but unfortunately the only thing she's known was those other people. So who is going to take care of her now? She's probably in the foster care system. Beautiful little baby.